well, what's mineral oil do? And then I researched it and I'm like, wow, it's a derivative from petrol and it's mainly in products that we put on our body. Hang on a second. It's like Glad wrap on our skin.
I feel like I just had a mindset shift just here right now in regards to like beauty and what I'm putting on myself and how I'm putting on myself.
My best friend who said to me, which inspired my journey into making my own skincare, you should never put anything on your skin that you wouldn't eat. And it was my light bulb moment. Unfortunately, she got on well, but through her journey, she asked me to help her on. I learned even more and went down that rabbit hole even more. Mel didn't make it. It's, oh my God, I get emotional thinking about it. 20 years this year that she's passed, but she lives on through the education. That was the backbone to the business.
Today on the potty, I am so excited to invite Vanessa from Vanessa Megan Skincare to join us. And before I jump into the first question for Vanessa, well, firstly, welcome to the potty, Vanessa and
Welcome.
Mel.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Mel.
I'm really pumped to have you here, hun, because I met you when my daughter was only about 6 months old and she's 13 and a half now. So 13 years ago was the first and only time we've said hi and had a hug. And that was actually at a baby expo. Or actually a natural expo. So I'm sure we'll come back to that today, but I have stalked you silently on the side for a really long time for a couple of reasons that will also come out in this podcast today. So I am personally a mad advocate of your skincare brand and very, very excited to have you on the podcast today.
Oh, Lisa, thank you. I feel really honoured about that, that you've stalked me. It's nice to know you've got a stalker out there. I'm so excited to come on here and talk about business to your listeners and, you know, what works, what doesn't work, because business, especially when you're an accidental entrepreneur like me, is something that doesn't come naturally to me. So I'm sure there's other people out there that have fallen into business and, you know, there are so many mistakes I've made, but I don't see them as negative because every mistake gives me the opportunity to grow.
Oh, Mel, we need more podcast guests like
I
Vanessa.
know. I was literally just thinking that. And that's exactly what it's all about. Failures are not failures because where do we get to from there? And don't worry, you're amongst a couple of other accidental entrepreneurs. I don't know, Lisa, are you accidental? I'm definitely an accidental entrepreneur over here.
I don't know about whether I'm accidental, but I know I can relate to what you're saying though, Vanessa, and so many of our listeners will too, because I feel like if I was to summarize what you're saying for our listeners, it's that like so many women in particular, being she-compreneurs, which is what this potty is we create a product that solves our own problem first. So, and I'm sure you'll tell us in a moment about why you created your beautiful products, but I'm pretty sure it's because you wanted those products. So you create them and then we think, well, if I wanted these, surely everybody else wants them too. And then suddenly we were like an ideas person that's turned into some kind of accidental entrepreneur, right?
That's exactly what happened. Although there was just one element in there because my best friend who said to me, which inspired my journey into making my own skincare, you should never put anything on your skin that you wouldn't eat. And it was my light bulb moment. And she was a lawyer. She was working with a woman who'd had fillers put into her lifelines. They reacted with her skin. She had them surgically removed and she was representing her in court. And so it led to that question, that answer. But then consequently, Mel got sick and she was having treatment for cancer. And she asked me to be a part of her journey. She lived in Melbourne and to help her, because I was probably the most woo-woo of her friends, to help her with her recovery of sorts. So I'd go down to Melbourne sporadically. And when I was dropping her off at radio treatment one time, there was a A-frame sign that said, if you're using anything with mineral oil in it, you cannot have this treatment. Go and have a shower, wash yourself. And I was like, oh, well, what's mineral oil do? And then I researched it and I'm like, wow, it's a derivative from petrol. Hang on a second. It's in 96% of skincare products. And it's mainly in products that we put on our body. Hang on a second. What? It's like Glad wrap on our skin, so nothing good can get in and nothing bad can get out. So, I just got goosebumps when I started researching. So ironically, she gave me this light bulb moment Unfortunately, she got on well, but through her journey, she asked me to help her on. I learned even more and went down that rabbit hole even more. Mel didn't make it. It's, oh my God, I get emotional thinking about it. 20 years this year that she's passed, but she lives on through the education that was the backbone to the business, because it was education for me. When she passed, it was, we were talking a little bit before about, coming from a farm, that cycle of life and death, but I never had anyone close to me pass. But the moment of her passing changed me forever, especially that her voice lives on through the education that I give. And it was then the fundamental piece that led me to educate other people, and then accidentally fall into formulating and delivering organic products, and my vision to get as many natural and organic products into as many homes and onto as many people's skin as possible. So that's what drives me. But yeah, that's how I started. And then I went on an 8-year journey of self-learning of biochemistry and the ingredients that we put on the skin, what they do, what are the natural alternatives, preservatives, all of that hoo-ha.
God, I don't even know where to start on that. I feel like I wanted to laugh for a while and now I want to cry. That's a lot, Vanessa. That's a lot. What a beautiful story.
Yeah, that, I think, just the passion that just came through around it, and what an important way and a nice way for you to kind of connect back to that moment as well.
Well, and it also, it's the foundation of everything I do. When I'm lost, when I don't know what I'm doing, I always come back to, it needs to be good enough to eat, to put on your skin. We need to educate, like the menopause range that I launched last year. It's about education. And as a clinical hypnotherapist, one of my driving forces is self-confidence. And the fact that I make skincare, and it's something that you do at the beginning and the end of the every day, it can bookend someone's confidence, whether you're a teen, 20, 30, 40 into menopause, because it is something where you give to you, and it's the moment that you look at yourself every single day and you can completely change around the thought processes in your brain. So I'm working that hand in hand just helps me define, what I do and how I do it.
That mindset, I feel like I just had a mindset shift just here right now in regards to like beauty and what I'm putting on myself and how I'm putting on myself. To be honest, I always think about, these treatments as, oh God, it's a thing I've got to do. I wanted to get in bed already. Now I've got to do it. Oh, in the morning, hell, I don't have time. I'm getting kids out the door. What am I going to do? What can I slap on fast to make me look like I'm alive? But I really like the idea of just like taking a moment for me and bookending my day. And this is how I start and this is how I end. That feels like a really nice little mindset shift.
I met my husband. He had 2 kids full time. Then we had 2 kids in a matter of 2 years. So I was mother of 4, within 2 years, running, starting the business, having, hubby and, all the friends and, all those other things that you have to juggle. You don't have time for a K-beauty 10-piece skincare range. But at the same time, there needs to be that time, no more than ever in my 50s, when you're going into that queen age, to say, hang on, it's me time. And to actually, take a breath and just go, and the kids are still going to come in while you're in the shower and do a poo, and it's going to be, wafting through the bathroom while you're having a shower. But when you put that cream on, or you're giving yourself a bit of a massage or whatever it is that you can give back to you, because that, it's just a little bit, but it's the moment that can reset you so that it fills your cup so you can be the best mummy, business owner, friend, wife.
And so, Vanessa, can I tell you then that your Neo oil is that for me, twice a day, every day? So let me tell listeners and Mel how you've all got to go out and buy Vanessa's Neo oil, Neo. And I discovered this, Vanessa, when you had a stand with your products opposite our Eco Original stand at the Naturally Good Expo 13 years ago. That was when we got to stare at each other for like 2 or 3 days, right? You were too busy talking to people, but I got to like ogle your products and meet you. And I fell in love with your products. And I'm pretty sure way back then we did a swap for some baby nappies for some products, right? Yes. We swapped a carton of nappies for some products. And that was my very first Petite Grain cleanser by you and Neo oil that I don't ever live without anymore. And your Neo oil, and let me, for those listeners who don't have the benefit of sniffing Vanessa's products right now, the thing I love about your products and what makes them so unusual in the marketplace is not only their clean ingredients, it's the fact that a lot of clean ingredients still use some kind of not amazing smells, but your natural essential oil combinations, which is quite a gift to put oils together in a way that they smell frickin' divine. Your Neo oil, I put it on twice a day, every day, morning and night, because I am quite a skin slut. I'm all over skincare like there's no tomorrow. It's part of my routine. No matter what else I put on my face, I always put your oil on. But the reason I'm telling you this very wafty, long-winded story is that there is a smell that for 13 years I've been putting on twice a day, every day, and it grounds me every day. It is the most astonishingly beautiful smell I've ever had in a skincare or makeup product ever. It's so divine. So everybody must go buy their Neo oil today.
Your skin looks bloody awesome.
Right. Very, very happy. Nearly, 46 this year. So I'm pretty pleased with the state of my skin. Yes.
Wow. Look, you know what? It's amazing when people do use natural products, especially when it's 100% natural and organic, from whether it's they're on their way there and they're using other products that are on the way to being 100% natural, but it does something to the skin and the fascia that they've never experienced before. Even my mum, who was a big Pond's, I don't know if you remember Pond's.
Yes. It's like Nivea.
Yeah.
And then when I started making skincare, I gave it to her, and the thing that she said she recognized, she said, my rosy cheeks came back. And what she was saying is the natural pallor to my skin is back. And we have, they have a real blue zone kind of lifestyle on the farm. But the fact that she was putting a certain product on her skin, it wasn't allowing it to really do its shine. So that, what you're doing with that, whether it's Neo or any other organic product, is you're letting your skin be its true self. You're not masking it with anything.
Mel, let's jump to you for a question.
Yeah. I'm reveling in all of this, going, I need to go out and, 1, get myself some Neo oil. 2, I need to make some kind of morning and night bookend here where I put it on and change my day. And the inspo is just, I imagine there's a lot of people out there who are like me, who have young kids at home, running a business, and literally still are chasing our tails. Not to say that doesn't change as your business gets older and your kids get older, because no doubt, I imagine you're forever chasing your tail, or it feels like it. But also, I think in the position right now where me as mum kind of isn't the top of the priority, me as Mel is like, I'm kind of like down. I don't have guinea pigs, but if we had guinea pigs, it'd probably be under that, I feel like, in the household. We've got the kids, the husband, the dogs, I come in somewhere under that after making school lunches, I feel like. So yeah, I think that this is just a really nice inspo in general, because I'm positive that I'm not the only person who is in this little bit of a rat race at the moment out there. And these little things that you can do in your day just to, it's a little bit of self-care, it's a little bit of self-love, it's about getting the products that do make you feel great and make you shine. And all of these little things, I think, can add up to just, being better in general. So I'm totally here for this conversation. I wanted to ask you a little bit. We've heard about sort of the why of your journey, but also, what you've created in this time is absolutely phenomenal. And we will be going into that, but I want to go right back to the start a little bit. So you started selling at the markets, which, look at the face you're pulling, like crazy life, basically. Back when you still had all these small children and everything else, no doubt. So how's the journey been? I mean, it's not been an overnight journey, obviously, but going from the markets, how do you feel that has given you some good foundations, being in front of your customer, knowing your customers, to kind of where you've gotten today?
Yeah, Mel, that is like exactly what you're saying, being in front of your customers. It was pre-children that I started at the markets. A hypnotherapist, and I had clients, and I had some friends, and they came over, and I was making my partner a face cream at the time. And they said, "What are you doing this weekend?" I said, "I'm just making Aaron a cream." And they're like, "A what?" And because I've been making creams for 8 years, I just thought everyone, like a cake, I'm going to make a cake this weekend, right? My friend's like, "A what?" And I was like, a cream for your face. And they were like, "Don't know what you're talking about." And I was like, "Well, come over. I'm going to show you how to make a cream." So they came over, they saw how to put it all together. We made a cream. It was the full moon. We called it the full moon cream. They put it in their Tupperware. They took it home. Now, these were really savvy Eastern suburbs, Bondi, super smart women, and they had no idea what they were putting on their skin. And that was in 2008. And so I thought, gosh, Mel had passed in 2004. And so I'd been making my own products, and going down that rabbit hole right through until this point. And I thought, gosh, if these women don't know, there must be a whole plethora, because you just think, right, what I do, everyone just does that, right? Everyone makes their own skincare. No, they weren't. And I just went, okay, I need to start educating women about what they're putting on, not just women, men too, but because we use the predominantly more amount on more of a percentage of our body, like full body creams, 96% have minerals. I was like, I'm going to go to the Bondi markets and I'm going to have my 8 or 9 products and I'm going to explain it to people. So I did, and I started there, and it was really the launch pad to what is today, because it started off with 9 products, and because I was obsessed with finding solutions to anyone's problem. So someone would come up to me and go, "Hey, my baby's getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. Do you have anything for mosquitoes?" And I was like, "No, but come back next week and I'll give you something to try." And they're like, "All right, witchy." And away they'd go, and away I'd go, and I'd formulate during the week, and then I'd bring it and try that. They came back the next week. My baby hasn't been bitten since. And then, "Do you have something for me?" The same with mozzies. And so I created a product called Bug Off Me and Bug Off My Baby, because under 2s it had to be different. And so it went to like the best-selling product on the stand at the time. And then someone else would come up and say, "I've got eczema psoriasis. Come back next week," which she came and did this. And, so I was at the coal face of people's problems. It wasn't me going, "I've got a problem, I'm going to solve it." I mean, like I did with the range of 9. That then spanned out into the VM range, VM for men, VM baby, labor spray, yoni mist post birth for your poor gynae, and all of these things but then it got too big, right? And so, but to answer your question, those fundamental years were imperative to having a direct one-on-one with my customer, or that they represented a range of customers that are looking for a certain product.
And we talk about this all the time, Vanessa. So let's reframe that for the listeners, that unless we're going to, it could be direct to customer or business to business trade expos, either way, and it could be your local markets, but there is nothing more important as a business than that cold interface of talking to people. Like you're talking to Mel, who's just had a stand at Life in Style for her brand Wild Dough. And I'm sure Mel will tell you, as you have, Vanessa, and I've done with so many brands. But when we get the opportunity to stand there and chat, and for listeners that don't know, when I met Vanessa, I had Eco Originals and we did 5 baby expos around Australia in a 12-month period. We must have spoken to thousands of them because we ended up with a database of 32,000 people that entered a giveaway. And we sold $100,000 worth of nappies at those 5 expos before I pressed go on my first nappies. But what was so valuable about that wasn't just the database build or the Kickstart funding. It was actually standing there, holding the nappy prototypes, talking to mums and saying, what does it look like? How does it feel? Would you buy this? How much would you pay? What do you want it to be called? What are your biggest pain points right now? And if as a brand owner, you're not finding ways to talk to and deeply understand the pain points of your audience, then you're missing a really important part of building a business. And the other reason why this is really important, and I'm sure that Vanessa and Mel have heaps to say on this too, so I'll stop talking in a minute, but it's also about the language they use, because what we do as brand owners is we assume that our pain point and our solution is how we should describe it. And this happens so often here at SheCon, where women come to us and tell us what their product is, and we're like, we've no fucking idea what you're talking about, mate. You know, I love you, but don't know what you mean. When we unpack it, we're like, oh, you mean blah, blah, blah. And so when you get to talk to thousands of people, you get to go backwards and forwards on wording to eventually land at a pitch that people understand and relate to. And it's so important that you write down their pain points, the words they use, and their way of describing your products, because that's the wording you use on your website and your social copy and your email copy. It's not your own words to describe your products. That was a rant. Sorry. Over to you, Vanessa.
My mind is being blown right now just by what you've said, because I just think, oh my God, how many expos I've done, and I have missed so many opportunities to get people for my database. I'm just thinking, shit. Oh, look, you know, I like, geez, Lisa, I can't wait to see you at SheCon. You're going to so much. Like, we've got the beauty expo coming up next week, so I'm like, I might have to just give you a little quick call before.
Buzz me later, babe. Buzz me later.
But that's exactly it, ladies, and everybody out there listening. 2 things right there. Obviously, we all want to rant on this topic because we're all super passionate about it. But if you're going to do a face-to-face event, which, as you've just heard, Lisa, it's so important for us, especially when we're e-commerce business owners and we're not out there in front of our customers all the time. Find a way to ensure that you can get their contact details and add them to your list. One of the easiest ways is to run a red hot giveaway where you have a QR code on your stand. Everyone you talk to, get them to sign up and join. Even if they're not going to convert there and be a customer on the day, once they are on your list, they are gold. You can do any type of giveaway. Use your marketing language. At Wild Dough, we always do win a year's supply of Wild Dough. Sounds epic. QR
that
code
was what
right
we
there.
did, Mel. It was win a year's worth of nappies. The prize has to be good. That's the thing.
100%. But if you really think about like what's a year's supply worth, you know, it's not a crazy amount, but geez, that language sounds bloody good. And we always get people who don't even want to stop and look at the product, just literally snapping the QR code on the way past to join. And then they're on my list. And when they are on your list, team, you can actually start selling to them, warm them up, get them down the funnel. So definitely, Vanessa, you need to get this for the beauty expo.
Honestly, I'm just like, can't wait to go into Vistaprint with my QR. I'm going to do postcards, babe.
The other thing is, I don't know whether the Beauty Expo is B2B or D2C, but we just had a bunch of clients do the most insane life and style results. And a big part of it was prepping. Well, there's a bunch of stuff I'm not even going to share right now because that's what you need to be in our programs to learn. But the one that I loved, Julie from Tara Treasures, she did 5% off for pay on the stand. And she actually did the most insane volume of orders on the stand for her brand. And it's just such a simple strategy, 5% off for wholesale orders if you pay here on the stand today. And most wholesale purchases, they're like, I don't really want to pay till next month because I'm balancing cash flow. But 5% is still 5%. I'll take that and prioritize your order to pay today and not somebody else's.
I'm writing this down.
Yeah, you go.
I was going to say, just back quickly to that language that we can learn in talking to customers. I just wanted to also add in there for everybody. Make sure you do talk to customers because I think sometimes, you know, when we are the accidental entrepreneur or, you know, when we fall into these businesses from whatever direction and reason we fall into them, speaking to people and being out there, you know, sales pitching or just generally conversing may not be a strong point for everybody. Obviously, it's a strong point of mine because you can't shut me up half the time. However, it doesn't come naturally to all. And I think it's really important for us to recognize the fact that practice does help. And the more you get out there and do it, the better it becomes and the easier it becomes for us. I find some of my best deals and best sales I do at things when I'm at face to face, I just have a chat to someone who's coming past. And maybe that's the country girl coming out in me too, because I do love to have a chat. One of my favorite stories is literally like this man walked past, older man, looked super grumpy, obviously being dragged along by his wife or whoever it was, didn't want to be there. And he had the most beautiful jumper on that looked like a knitted jumper that my nan would have knitted us, basically. And he was walking past and I said, "Oh my gosh, your jumper is beautiful. Did somebody knit that for you?" And he was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, tell me about your jumper. And it was just the most random thing in the whole world. Turns out he owned this giant toy store and he ended up putting in this large order with me. And he was this super maybe not grump, but he wasn't happy where he was at the time. And, sometimes I think it's just really important if we actually talk to people and actually just be authentic, be ourselves, people buy from people and people like to converse. So
attraction too, Mel. And, the fact is that you weren't talking to him to get a sale. You were just talking to him. And this is where there's a great hypnotherapist that talks about creating opportunities. And you just are open to the opportunity. I mean, like, you're beyond that. You're just friendly and you saw your nana knitting in the jumper. But it resulted, like, if you went, "Oh, he looks grumpy, I'm not going to speak to him," and you withheld yourself, you were just like, it's like, if you hadn't noticed, I'm a bit more, energetically connected than, brain connected to business. But what you just did was a free flow of energy. He happened to be this, big entrepreneur at this trade show, probably with his wife, but then it resulted in that. It just shows to me that it's a positive transaction of energy too. Because if you didn't say anything, you wouldn't have opened up that opportunity for yourself.
And I think what Mel just shared too is really important to our listeners, is that people buy from people. It's a thing we try and remind them of on the podcast all the time here, is that if, as a brand owner, and there's plenty of you that are introverted who hide behind your expo stands on your phone being busy doing other things, but if you're not outwardly facing energy exchange, as Vanessa's just shared, people aren't going to exchange back. And they're also on socials. If you're not at a trade show, if you're just on your, virtual world of business, which is Instagram and TikTok and website and emails, if you're not prepared to get in front of your brand a little, then it's very difficult for people to decide if they know, like, and trust you. And if they can't know, like, and trust you, they're far less likely to buy. So this is a really good segue into the next question I want to ask you about, which is around websites, Vanessa, because I'm really keen to talk to you about this. But let's preface this by saying one of my biggest pet hates as a website optimization expert is not very good about pages. And I think it's really important to remind everybody, go check your about page today. And is there a very short summation of your story there without it being long-winded and waffly? And at 18, I got endometriosis. And then at 27, I got divorced. And at 34, I found a problem. And nobody gives a shit about that. What they care about is a very brief chat about you and then why you've got this product. And really, they just want to see if they can know, like, and trust you. And very good segue into the trust conversation, Vanessa, because I have to share a little story with you. Many, many years ago, in one of my many stalks from you, and the reason I've stalked you so much, to be clear, is because I buy your products. And as I mentioned, there's 3 products of yours that I'm obsessed with: Neo Oil Petite Grain Cleanser and the Probiotic Face Scrub, which is like a powder you put on when you're in the shower, and it's like the best exfoliator in the whole world. And I buy them on your website regularly. And years ago, as somebody, when I first started SheCom, let's even just go back 3 years ago, first program launch, I was like, why are women failing to make websites sell? How do we get their conversion rate up? And I was like, well, it's about trust. So how do we get trust? Trust is a really important thing, because remember, on a website, it's one sense only, which is your eyesight. In a physical Westfield, you can use all your senses: hearing, taste, maybe if you're lucky, smell, touch. But on a website, the only sense you can engage is your eyesight, maybe hearing if a video auto plays, but that's it, right? Now, that makes trust very difficult to achieve because people want to not believe that it's real. And so how do you get a lot of trust on your website, Vanessa? And what I realized when I was stalking you is that you use awards credibility as a major trust piece on your website. And I took that away and I was like, how do we help all of our SheCom clients have websites as trustworthy as Vanessa? Like, legit, I'm not just blowing hot air up your ass right now. This actually happened about 3 years ago. Wow. So I said, well, you know what? dang it, I'm going to start my own awards so that they can enter and they can get their little emblems and cascade them down their buy box like you do. And legitimately, that's why we have Chicon Product Awards, which you entered for the first time this year. It is because of you, I have to thank.
Look, thank you so much. And look, Lisa, I think we are all, unless we're sommeliers, we're all culprits of going into a wine shop and going to dinner and then going, what's the best wine? I don't know wine, and I don't know what the best one, it's a price point. For me, if I don't know something or about something and I see an award on it, I'm more likely to buy that wine, much to my husband's disdain. Because he's like, what did you do? But but like, it's like, you should have got like the small orange farm, whatever. But that is how I shop. So I went with what I would do and the psychology of myself. And then I thought, if someone came to my website, didn't know me from a barish soap or the story or the products or the ingredients that we use, the first thing that I did was get ACO approval. So we did that with our certification, because here I am spruiking at the markets that were certified organic and we're this and we're that. I am absolutely nobody. How can you trust me? I don't even have a certificate in chemistry, right? I did that over an 8-year period of actually like product ingredient trials rather than looking at the molecular structure, right? How did it feel? First of all, I did ACO because it was a trusted certification body and the best you could get. You cannot get better than ACO. So that was, first of all, a really long journey to get a trusted partner by our side, so that people went, you can say it's certified, but now you're proving it. Like, these guys are the tough guys to get. So we got that. And then we started, I remember getting our first award. I didn't even put it up for the award. I just got notification, hey, you just won an award. I'm like, what do you mean? How did you find us? And it started this concept of a badge. And it was, I started the business well before social media, had my babies, and then after my son finished breastfeeding, it was like the woolen mask was taken off, and I was like, what is this thing called Instagram or like social media? Like, because everything was very old school. Magazines, that's what your PR was, trade shows. It was very, so the interweb and the website was more important than ever. And the people that we were communicating with had never had a touch point with me or a magazine that you trust. So as we got our awards, I was like, just throw everything on, because the more awards they have, like the, Dan Murphy's, I would trust that.
Do you know where that comes from, by the way, Vanessa? You probably do, but I've researched this a bit in Chicom having their own awards, and it dates right back when they used to send doves to the next castle. They would have a seal, a rubber stamp seal, and the seal would have been from the royal family or from that family emblem logo. And if it was opened, the message had been read, and then it went through the eras right down to rubber stamping from the council or the government back before the internet, where to get paperwork approved, it had to be stamped, right? And it's always some form of circular logo that is a position of authority. So the reason so many awards are in a circular point and put like a stamp on a product on the label or on the website, it's a very, very deep rooted sense in humanity of authority stamping. It's very clever.
That makes so much sense. I did not know that. But
yes, I am a weird geek that has the most random facts about weird shit. Ask me anything.
You know what? It also, because it's also elevation, right? Because that's from the royal family, or if you're a family of wealth or notoriety, so that any award, even there are a plethora of awards around, but it also, I think it's a really clever and a super smart way to get your brand out there like SheCom, because people might not know SheCom, but then they see it on awards and then they go, well, who's that? And it's it's a very smart, you're a smart woman, Lisa.
Wasn't born yesterday, girl. But
she has good ideas.
Let's summarize this for listeners. So if you don't know what we're talking about, I really want you to go and check out Vanessa's website. So vanessamegan.com or just .com.au?
No, just .com.
Just .com. And what that essentially will show you is that on the homepage and in pretty much most of Vanessa's products, if you go to a product, what you'll find is that in her image stack on the left, most of the images, or at least the first image, has a multiple set of awards cascading on top of each other down the left or the right of the image that brings the most intense set of credibility. So you look at it and your brain, without even it being a conscious thought, it's a deep subconscious thought, goes, ooh, shit, this product is really good. A bit like the wine you just talked about. And I think you are by far, like, you win so many awards for the most exceptional brand that has elevated your positioning with awards. I constantly stalk it going, that is insane, girl. So
as well, Lisa, it's good for it's good to be relevant. And the thing is, as well, our team, we were talking about it yesterday as well, because we just took out 6 gold at the Organic Awards, which
congratulations.
Well done.
SheCom Awards too, which we're really stoked about. But what it does, it says to our customers who are already with us, you are still relevant and you're still winning gold. Our investors, they're like, oh yeah, that's my brand. So our win is our customers' win. And like, you love Neo and you love the Pettigrain and all of these products, so that you go, yeah, it's gold standard. Yeah, I got a gold, because that's not just, it then becomes continual reassuring for our customer
that the product is still good and relevant, that it hasn't been lost its quality. So give our listeners a couple of your top tips for every year. I know you would invest a lot of time and money into entering awards. Tell us what your top tips are for finding the right awards for your products, and then how you might go about, trying to ensure wins.
Yeah, look, we get, like, around March, anyone that's doing an award, we get a plethora of emails like, enter our awards, enter our awards, enter our awards. We can now kind of sift through which ones are just money-making elements, because some, and it's got really hardcore in the last 2 years, some are like, it's free to enter, but once you win, you need to pay a license fee to use our badge. So just be aware of that when you enter an award. Read the small print, because you want those awards. And yes, you have to pay an entry fee because people are testing them. So there is, there's some that are completely free, and it's a true award. And that's the Organic Awards. Like, for us, especially being in the organic sector, they are very transparent. So, with those awards, it's kind of like they mean what they say. But then there's other ones that are a bit more fashion-based, or, these other ones, and then you can get the crystal trophy, which is $5,000. There's all of these elements.
Wow. You're hearing about all kinds of awards I don't even know about. This is cool.
But the thing is to make sure that you're going into an award that's reputable, that has structure behind it, but also for us as well, because we formulate ourselves and we manufacture, we don't go to someone who manufactures that produces the same thing that other companies could be producing. One of our pillars is innovation. So innovation is a big thing for our brand, because you'll find things in our range of products that you just can't find anywhere else. So Innovation Awards was big for us, and we've won 4 years running for different products. And so that's really big for us to consistently be ahead of other brands. So we're looking at, what do our competitors go to? So we look at, what's our competitor winning? Is that something that we want to be a part of? Is that a conversation? Environmental, we've just launched a full compostable range of products, because that's really important. So those green awards. So where we're constantly ebb and flowing, and where we want our conversation to be directed as well is where we will look at, we'll always do like maybe a group of awards annually because they're the super hard hitters. But then there's going to be the what can lead marketing into that direction so that we can connect with new customers that we may have not connected with before.
Such good top tips about sharing who we should be entering awards with and how we should be entering and what to look for. I also love the idea that you touched on the fact that you are looking for new customers and more awareness. So entering new and different types of awards, and absolutely, one, awards can help our credibility when people are looking for us, but we can actually get more awareness out there for our products as well. So there's so many benefits to entering awards, and I'm an awards junkie over here myself, so I'm a huge fan of this. But the other thing I want to just quickly share for everybody is, if you haven't entered an award yet, we've just heard all the reasons why you should be entering them. But if you haven't yet, I 100% recommend everyone should start, because I tell you what, and Vanessa, you tell me, your first ever award entry, I bet it wasn't to the caliber that your award entries are today. Is that right? I'd love to. How good would it be to read back on them one day, to be honest? But like, the point is, we all start somewhere with awards, and maybe we didn't even win our first awards entries. I don't think I did at Wildo, to be honest. But the point is, we need to kind of keep going back and having a go, and every time our entries get better. And one of the things, kind of like the trade shows and the expos and the customer events that we were talking about before, I learned so much about my business and myself when I started writing awards entries. And I think the fact that, we don't naturally talk about ourselves in a way that we're really kind of beefing ourselves up and being showy. We're a little bit more naturally humble, and we don't want to put ourselves out there. These top line stats that we want to, share to actually win things, they don't come naturally to us. So I think it's also a really beautiful exercise for us as business owners to go through, because we start getting more comfortable in putting ourselves out there in this way. And it doesn't mean that it's not big noting, it's not being showy or anything. It's just stating fact that you might be multi-award winning, stating fact that, you have great sales, stating fact that you've got a great product that people love. And I think that us, especially being women, becoming more comfortable in doing these things is really important, and we all need to start somewhere. So,
right, Mel, because there is a humility that you have as a business owner, and you can big note yourself and you can go, and we're this and we're that, but when you've got the awards, they do that for you. You don't have to. You don't have to go out and go, we're the blah blah blah. It is there. You can stay in your grace, or you could just go, we just took out 5 gold at the blah. And you can say it, like, you don't have to, and you can scream it. Like, I'm a bit of a scream. Like, I would be like, from the mountaintop, like, we're just better. But my team are like, we're elevated. We're elevated. But I think it is the time that you can do the screaming, because you can say it till you're blue in the face, but someone else is saying it when you've got the award.
100%. It's really just that credibility, isn't it? It's we can tell everybody how great we are, but when somebody else endorses you in this way, no matter how they're doing it, it is next level.
It's the endorsement. You're absolutely right. When we got our dermatologically tested throughout the range, we made it into a badge so that it could sit like an award, because A, it was costly. B, it's really important for people with sensitive skin to know that it's been dermatologically tested. And so we've got a tick, almost like the Heart Foundation, and then we've turned it into that logo, like an award.
And you know what? I love that so much, because this is what we all should be doing as business owners, right? Sometimes we actually get awards and award badges, and that's great. But other times we have this really incredible thing that we want to tell people. And if we can turn it into something that looks graphically like a trust icon and then place it on places, like it's within itself, that's beneficial. I do the same thing. And I always say to ladies, what cool thing do you have that you can say you've done, even if it's not an actual like symbol itself? Can you turn it into a symbol? And
hot tip, creativemarket.com. If you guys don't know, creativemarket.com, it's a icons and graphic design global website. And if you don't have the budget to get a designer to create your own icons for your website, you can get all kinds of circular icons made that you put the wording underneath of on your Shopify site that give your website the stamp of all of the bits that you do differently. Like I call them an icon row. It could be, wear now, pay later. It could be 100% refund guaranteed, or at creativemarket.com. It's just a really cool hack for budget brands on budget to get icons off the shelf. You can get all kinds of things on there that are graphic designed, but love it for icons.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, dropping the gold nuggets today. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about manufacturing with you, Vanessa. So as a brand over here, where we are all Australian made, all manufacturing's done here, and I love that you also are too. It has challenges. Let's just be honest. There obviously are challenges that go along with this, as well as some great things that go along with it as well. But I want to know, how has it impacted sort of your global strategy in terms of manufacturing here in Australia and selling and exporting and warehousing and just the whole thing? Can you talk about your, Australian made a little bit?
Yeah, look, we make here, I formulate, and we make here. We've got 2 external sites that we manufacture with, as well as through our own lab for small production or NPD. But I've never considered manufacturing ever offshore. And if someone said to me, oh, with the growth, you can go offshore with that, I'm like, not on your fucking life. No fucking way is anyone out of Australia going to touch my formulations. The reason being is that you don't know what people use. You don't know the quality and the processes that they use, even if they've got GMP, ISO, all of the words and icons that you need, especially for international, you can get them here. I would rather pay a little bit more so I know what's going out to my customer. And the fact that if we do have to have a recall because something goes sideways or a formulation splits, it's traceable. I can go directly to my manufacturer and I can go, here's the batch, here's the date it was manufactured, what went wrong? And they've got their list that they can go through and they can go, we use this, and this. Oh, we can backdate it to a preservative that was either given incorrectly, or do you know what I mean? Like, just traceability is really important. For me, manufacturing is more about our packaging and gauging our growth internationally to make sure that we have enough, because it's more the ingredients are available and we've set up enough with our suppliers to produce, and we're quite nimble. So it also is a positive thing when you're really quick. And if we've just partnered with a distributor in China and they did their first order. We went, oh, we did it. We got it out. Oh, that was big. We won't get another one for about 4 or 5 months. 2 months later, they've reordered.
Amazing.
And we're like, fuck. How do we manage this? And it just means all of our production and everything has to be, and it's also that it's money and it's hand to mouth, and when you're in that growth cycle as well. So having really good teams that can be nimble and we can go, and they're not too big a production house that they have everything scheduled in so that you can't fit in. We've got some such great, loyal and nimble manufacturers that help us. So the pain point's more about the packaging, really.
And I would love to talk about this all day, but I've just realized we've been chatting for a while already. And I want to there's 2 kind of things I want to touch on. And one of them we're not going to have time to touch on today. So it's the perfect opportunity to tell our listeners, because this episode is about 2 weeks before our biggest event of the year, which is SheCom Live, that Vanessa, you're coming to our VIP day at SheCom Live to chat to me. Specifically was invited, to be honest, about your capital raising recently through Virtual, which, for the listeners that don't know, when you run out of money in a business and perhaps not even run out, but just need to raise more money, a way to grow instead of giving up equity or getting debt is actually to cap raise. And a really cool thing in Australia is equity crowdfunding, which means that your customers can buy a piece of your business as a shareholder for a small amount of money. So you end up with a lot of shareholders, but it's a very clever way to grow as a brand. And I am so busting to talk to you about this, and we're not going to touch it on the podcast today. And I've just made the decision that we are going to deliberately hold you all at bay. If you want to hear about Vanessa's cap raising experiences with Virtual, you've got to get a VIP ticket to SheCon Live and come and meet Vanessa and have a cup of coffee with her after she chats about it on stage, because there'll be lots of times on the Thursday and Friday that you'll grab Vanessa in the crowd and have a chat to her about this, because there's a lot to learn from that. But I do want to loop back to something that you dropped. It's not one of our scripted questions, and I heard you say it fairly early on in our potty today, which is that you said, then we grew to VM men, and then we grew to VM baby, and then we did this, and then we did that, and then we scaled it back a bit because maybe there was something that happened and you ended up too wide in your SKU varieties. And I want to talk about that for a sec, because speaking on behalf of our listeners for a minute, and I can only paraphrase a conversation I had in my scale program yesterday, where one of our skincare clients was saying, I'm staying at 5 products forever. I'll never go beyond that. And that's her growth pattern, which is clearly very different to yours. And of course, every pattern is individual, and there are pros and cons of each. But I'm so curious as to that negative connotation about maybe perhaps grew too many and then scaled it back a little. Like, talk me through that, because you have a lot of SKUs.
We have a lot of SKUs now. It's this ebb and flow. We had a lot more, and we had VM baby, VM men, and we had VM home, as well as the core VM range. And we started becoming everything to everyone, and we weren't specific and it wasn't targeted. And we were getting the most incredible results from our skincare range. But then when you've got a poo mist in the toilet, and then you're about to put some serum on your skin that's going to transform your skin, it's kind of this like bit of a cognitive disconnect, that, I'm going to spray stuff in the toilet. And then, and it was actually, I went to a hotel and I used a product in the amenity sector. And then I found out they were actually quite a high-end skincare range, skin brand as well. And I do a lot out of my own psychology of how my psychology is about it. So I didn't really, because I was introduced to their amenity range before I was introduced to their skincare range, I automatically thought their skincare range wouldn't work or wasn't good. So it was around the time that we were creating spa treatments as well, and came up with the Fire and Frost and the extreme polar differences. So you go extreme heat, extreme cold, creates a trauma on the skin, which boosts collagen production on the skin. Everyone was going berserk over the Fire and Frost. And I was like, you know what? We're skin experts. We're not poo drops. I can do that with my eyes closed. Aesop can have that one. So we culled, and we went from probably 150 SKUs right back to 30. And that was when we rebranded. And I rebranded to be the brand that you wouldn't know was organic, because organic and natural wasn't enough anymore in 2019. I wanted us to be rubbing shoulders with those department store brands and almost reverse psychology, mind Jedi our customers into thinking we were a synthetic brand, because you'd say, oh, it's organic. People go, it's not going to work. Not going to work. Not going to work. So I needed to make it look like the brands that were synthetic that worked. Then they used it and they went, oh my God, this is amazing. It's working. And then they read that it's organic. So the organic delivery was a discovery, not what we led with.
Because it's true, really beautiful packaging. There are a lot of women who want to have really aesthetically amazing products for their face. But if the product looks too organic or hippie, they're not going to put it on their face. And I think you've really nailed. Your packaging is superb and it's classy. And as you said, we're an elevated brand, baby, but yet you're organic, and that makes you stand out from the crowd. And I think you've done just such a beautiful job with your branding.
Lovely. Thank you. Yeah, look, it's opened a lot of doors that it wouldn't have before. And it's what got us into Gwingana. Like our perfumes got us into Gwingana, and the GM of the spa there rang me and said, I've never seen an organic brand look like this. And her name's Mel Jantz. She was the person that saw the brand and saw that it was unique, and and the delivery and the results were what their customers were looking for, but without the lavender sprig on it, you know?
I just want to reiterate that for everybody, because I think that those points were so important, because things like sustainable, eco, organic, these are all really important things. But I think that they're important to people who are buying our products. But first and foremost, they seem to be like some of the driving reasons that we end up creating brands and products ourselves as founders, because these are really important pieces to us. But when we actually go out there and start selling our products, just because it's sustainable isn't enough for someone to come and buy it. Just because it's organic, which is what you've just said, isn't enough for someone to come and buy it. It's almost like it's the aftertone, the afterthought. They need the reason, they need the connection, they need the pain point, they need the beautiful look on the shelf or whatever it is. They need the reason to buy the product. And then almost as a secondary underthought, they go, oh, it's sustainable, oh, it's eco, oh, it's organic. And these are like the feel-good reasons once I've decided to buy the product almost. It's not the headline. It seems to be coming in as more like the secondary piece there. And I think that's a point that a lot of business owners out there are struggling with a little bit as well, because personally for us, as you've said, Vanessa, like it's so important that the products, the ingredients you'd eat if you're going to put them on your face, like the organic piece is so important to you, but it's not necessarily as equally important to everybody else out there, though it actually is a driving factor that they're going to be buying it and really happy with the purchase and keep buying it. So this is, I think that I often hear this train of thought going through people's heads saying, it's organic, it's organic, it's organic, or it's sustainable, but it's not the main reason people are going to buy. So I just wanted to kind of like touch back on that for everybody.
Absolutely. Look, the thing is that when they discover that it works, or they see our before and after photos, that really you do see the difference. And especially, that prebiotic and C exfoliator, it really is, it's 100% natural, but the way that I'm always just so enthralled by nature and what it can deliver as a natural alternative to synthetics that are bad for our oceans.
But isn't that where humans are so stupid? Like, because we think we can invent everything using petrochemicals that are so much better, and yet nature already had it for like 1,000 years. Cleopatra has been making herself beautiful.
Exactly, Lisa. And these things, they get our pH in balance. Obviously there's things like lactic acid, which is a phenomenal natural ingredient, but it is spicy, man. And that stuff on the wrong skin can go sideways. So you've got to know what you're doing, because nature can be so strong. We've seen it in aromatherapy even, and our perfumes are all based on mood enhancing qualities as well as a complexity to make it smell nice. But my mum was like, do you really think those essential oils are going to do anything? And I was like, you try it. It's an aphrodisiac quality, just saying. and she's, this year worked. No, but we've proven the mental, physical connection between nature, and that it's the qualities of whether it's an essential oil or Kakadu plum, which is 20 times the amount of vitamin C than oranges. You're like, well, get a synthetic into a product that doesn't go rancid and isn't going to turn and isn't going to oxidize in a product like Kakadu plum. It's amazing. It is. I could talk about it all day long, but that's boring.
No, I love our passion and enthusiasm, and I feel like there's a lot that's going to be discussed at SheCom Live in a couple of weeks. So I can't wait to talk more about all of this.
But I really can't wait to talk about the cap raise. It is one of the biggest questions I've received from business owners, and the way it's transformed my business, nothing else has transformed my business more than that cap raise. So I can't wait to explain it all to your incredible group of women who want to get to that next level.
I love it. I can't wait to hear about it too, because, as Shecom here is a business as well, and we've been through exponential growth, and I think a cap raise is on the cards for us too. So I think for any business, considering growth and debt funding, cap raise is really important. So the virtual convo we're going to have at Shecom Live will be epic. Now, we have one final question on the potty today, Vanessa. We always ask our potty guests, and it's such a, last year, the podcast final question was about, which e-commerce store you're shopping at the moment. And we've kind of progressed to something we feel like is a bit more to the heart for our guests, which is around what version of success looks like for you. So what we've witnessed is that there's no set thing, that every woman's version of success can look completely different, and that's okay. But to know what we're working towards and then enunciating it clearly, so we'll know when we've gotten there, because I think women are really bad at keeping on going down the path. When I get there, I'll feel better. When I get there, I'll be successful. And I want to know, what's Vanessa Megan's version of success?
Look, success is every day I get an email and say I couldn't walk out my front door because my skin was so bad, and I now don't have to wear makeup. That's success for me personally, and to do what I do every day and love it. I wake up every day loving what I do. My dad said to me as a kid, Nessie, follow your dreams, money will follow. So it really is that joy to be doing what I do, but also building confidence within women, and getting a natural product onto people's skin as my fundamental that makes those changes in their life.
Hey, Mel, I think she's a bit passionate about good quality skin for women. What do you reckon?
I tell you what, I'm literally sitting here going, oh my God, I need to go and check all the ingredients.
You
I need
already
to
on the
relook at
Vanessa
everything.
Megan website?
I literally, there's a scrub that I'm in the market for a scrub. I'm literally looking at the scrubs too. The best thing, this has been the most wonderful chat, Vanessa. I'm so excited to meet you in person at Shecom Live, but your passion and enthusiasm for this, and right at the start when you mentioned, it was all about educating, and then everything else has kind of followed. And I actually feel like I've been educated today already. And I bet a lot of listeners feel that way too, because we don't know what we don't know. And when it's not an area that we're super passionate about or looking at or whatnot, which I'm personally not, I'm never looking into it. So this has been really eye-opening and enlightening to me. And, just the idea that, your passion for these products and they're working and everything, I want a piece of that. So yeah, I'm hitting the website. It's happening.
And for our beautiful listeners that don't have the benefit of video right now, what you're not seeing is just how sparkly Vanessa is herself. Her eyes sparkle, her skin sparkles, her smile is bigger than the biggest smile I've ever had another podcast guest ever. You need to go stalk Vanessa, buy some of her products, come to Shecom Live and give her a hug, because she's a fucking legend.
Thanks once again, Lisa. Mel.
Thank you, Vanessa. Welcome to the potty, and thank you for joining us today and sharing all of that wisdom. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.